And speaking of business, let's take care of business, whether in the professional realm or our personal lives. Obtaining executive presence can be beneficial in many different ways. Here to explain it and how we can exude executive presence is entrepreneur and consultant Melanie Espelond. Welcome, Melanie.
Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, we're excited to talk to you about this. And can you explain what executive presence is?
Sure, it's very elusive, and I've heard it be called different things, such as gravitas or even just confidence, that je ne sais quoi. Really, it's a unique expression of your own leadership style. And I think it's also important to note that it can be really different for different people. It's not one plus one equals two. For example, if you take someone like a Steve Jobs versus a Michelle Obama, they have really different executive presence styles, but they're both super effective because they are being authentic to themselves. So I think that's super important to know whether or not you are utilizing your authenticity and you're being true to yourself.
And I wanted to put this into perspective. You kind of highlighted it a bit, but who are some famous people that come to mind for you that exude executive presence?
Well, for me, I definitely love Michelle Obama because she does what I consider to be the holy grail of executive presence, which is she has compassionate authority. She's able to get up in front of a room and show you that she knows what she's talking about, that you can trust her, but that you also like her and you'd love to kind of sit down and have a drink with her. So that's really the holy grail. Again, compassionate authority, or said differently, having both respect and likability.
And for those of us who aren't on the Michelle Obama level, why is it important that we all need executive presence?
There's really two key reasons why you need it. And the first one is you need to get that seat at the table. If you're not being included in important conversations or being pulled into a room when major decisions are being made, then unfortunately, your great ideas are just never going to be heard. So again, you got to get that seat at the table. And then secondly, you need to be able to persuade others. In any situation in your life, you need to be able to get people onto your side. You need to be able to get them to see your point of view. And this becomes even more important the more senior you get at work when you're leading teams and you need to influence others. So again, you've got to persuade others and you've got to have that seat at the table.
All right, Melanie, we want that seat at the table. So, how can we build our executive presence?
So I've really looked at how all of these different types of individuals who have different styles, what their common threads have been throughout their personalities and their executive presence styles. And I've created really a structured approach. The way this is broken down is in two pillars. One is the literal and the other is the figurative. Under the literal, you have your voice, your appearance, and your body. And then under the figurative, we have vision. We also have authenticity and confidence. So that's really the structured approach I take. And there's a lot of really quick tips that I can help give for the audience today on how they can get there.
Yes, please tell us. Especially, you mentioned our body language. I'm curious to know how that plays a part in projecting executive presence.
Mhm. So the body is really interesting because a lot of people ask me, how do I get to be more confident, right? I can't just tell people be more confident. That's not helpful. So I would say the back door to confidence is ease and being grounded in your body. You have to release that tension from your body. And then all of a sudden, you are just immediately going to appear to be more in control and more confident. So, one of the simplest things we can do before you have an important meeting or an interview or Zoom call is just relax the body, shake it off, literally stand up, relax yourself, maybe take in a few deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth, and all of a sudden you're going to have more ease in your body and therefore you're going to emit more confidence. So I would say that's the number one thing you can do immediately.
I like that, especially like you mentioned before a big meeting sometimes or an interview, we might have those nerves that we're trying to shake off. So being able to relax
Yep.
the body sounds really key. Any final tips on executive presence?
So I would say another that people forget about is you have to listen to others in the room around you. I find with a lot of the executives I've coached, they're so busy worrying about what they're about to say next that they don't really hear what's happening in the room around them. And this is so key because when people speak, they are telling you a lot about themselves, and it's like a mirror. You can learn a lot about what they're thinking. So if you know more about what everybody else is thinking in the room, you can be much more authentic in how you're communicating with them and be a lot more thoughtful. So please stop thinking about what you're going to say next and actually listen to everybody around you.
All righty, Melanie, thank you so much for these tips. And for more coaching tips on executive presence, visit esplanadeenterprises.com.